Hey folks, Doomed Wizard here. I'm back with my gang. We just wrapped up a session of the new Blade Runner game, so I thought maybe we talk about it a little bit. We haven't. This is our first time playing it, and this is our first time. My first time playing any Free League game. So you probably know these guys already if you've watched previous videos. But I'm going to give them a second, give them a minute to introduce themselves. But before we do that, I want to make two quick announcements. First one is if you go down below, you can find a link to where you can pick up the copy of Strangeville that people have been asking about. And the second one is I want to give a quick shout out to this video sponsor, Into the AM. Into the AM started off with a few graphic shirts with a focus on vibrant colors and wild designs back in 2012 and has grown to offer a diverse range of clothing that has gone beyond simply graphic design. Their mission is to provide a wide selection of high quality clothing of various styles and preferences. Comfortable, casual, and uniquely designed, these shirts will quickly become your favorites, like they've become mine. Into the AM are committed to maintaining the highest level of quality in everything they create. Take it from your pal, the Doomed Wizard, they're succeeding. Check out their diverse collection of graphic designs, polos, and button ups for yourself. I seldom go to one of my Saturday night game nights without wearing one of their graphic tees. Regardless of your RPG of choice, you're sure to find something that fits your game. And if you use promo code Doomed Wizard, you'll get an additional 10% off your total purchase. That's like walking into a store and telling them, Doomed Wizard sent me. All right, guys. Why don't you introduce yourselves for the good people? I'll start with you, Nick.
Nick Havert. I'm a comic book writer, radio DJ, horror host on Weirdarama.com, music blogger, crime fighter.
Crime, crime fighter.
Mark
Not,
Panola. I'm a gamer and an editor.
And I'm Mike Indovina. Um, I don't know who the hell I am.
creator of Argonaut
Many
Odyssey.
Man of mystery.
Yes.
Yeah, I created some role playing games. Argonauts Odyssey. It's available on Drive Through RPG. And some supplements for that. I also have some other stuff I'm gonna be trying to release soon. I've published a bunch of comic books and what else have I done?
Tarot cards.
Tarot
Oh,
cards.
yeah,
Yeah.
tarot cards. So much stuff I can't even remember it all.
It gets a little tongue tied
Yeah.
with his list of accomplishments. All right, so again, we're here to talk about the Blade Runner role playing game by Free League. Nick ran this. This is our second session, and I can't speak for them, but I think I can. We're having a ball playing it. Um, Nick, why don't you tell us what possessed you to buy it and run it?
Well, I'm a big fan of the movies and the books, and so when I've heard that they were coming out with this, they had a Kickstarter campaign for it,
Mm-hmm.
and you could get stuff like these custom dice and the game screen, and it came with the first adventure, Electric Dreams, and all this like cool looking stuff. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to jump on that. And another thing that came with it was you got the Alien starter set.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there was one tier where you could get the Alien starter set. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm all in. And I do want to get the full Alien rulebook and run that eventually too.
Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun. It's similar to this, isn't it, as
Yes,
far
yeah,
as mechanics?
Yep, same mechanics. And so yeah, I just thought, oh, that'd be just so much fun to play and run because I am an actual real crime fighter. I'm a police detective and a crime scene investigator, my full-time job. So like it's a lot of this, as you guys have discovered, it's a police procedural
Yeah.
kind of mystery.
Very much is.
And
Yeah.
so for me, it's like that's my wheelhouse. I can run this easy.
It's only a little bit intimidating as a player. I'm just throwing that out. We're constantly asking them, so in law enforcement, can we do this?
Right. Yeah. and then, and it's interesting for me too because you're in a future
Mhm.
world. And so, like, yeah, you probably could by this point. And, there are things you could probably do because you're all these high ranking detective Blade Runner characters.
So this is basically first impressions, guys. What do you think?
I love it. For me, it's the accessories make it.
Yes.
The art that you get.
I mean, there's a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah, if we could show some of it.
Put some cool cards up here.
There's cards with suspects. There's
You get this cool thing like the newspaper, which um, there's clues in here. I've discovered. So nice little things to flavor up the atmosphere of the game.
Which is great for me because this is the second session we've done in this game. And
Mhm.
the first one, Paul's character was, go figure, in a Blade Runner movie, eating noodles at a restaurant, and Mike's character had to come get him. And Paul was reading this paper, so I'm just sitting back like, oh, Paul's got all these clues right in front of him, and he doesn't even know it.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
this is kind of cool.
And it was the second when we were playing it the first session, and I kind of like leafed through it during that noodle session, and then like later on in the game, I'm like, hang on a second, I know how games. I lay things out for my players too. There's got to be stuff in here.
I also enjoyed. I got to do the first chase that we had. So my character was chasing. I won't give any details to ruin.
Yeah, we don't want to
I
spoil
was
it.
chasing a suspect.
Right.
And so what was interesting is while the rest of the game is a lot of dice rolling,
Mhm.
but I have to say the character sheet is so easy to use with
Yeah.
the dice rolls.
Mhm.
And it's, for those of you that play 5th edition, it's sort of like rolling skill
Yeah.
checks. But when you do a chase, it involves these chase maneuver cards, and
Yeah.
so you're drawing cards to decide what you do, and there's some obstacles that can get your way. But it made for an exciting chase. I thought it didn't have you're just I roll dice, he rolls dice.
Yeah, that was
We
really
were playing
cool.
cards, and it went
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
And so it made it feel like a chase.
And
Yeah.
there's no initiative.
And there's no
Yeah.
initiative.
And the way the chases work in this game is the prey, whoever's being chased, they always go first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And although there are things that can happen, obstacles that can negate whatever the prey has chosen to do.
Correct. Yeah, I had an old man accost me for some money, which interrupted the chase.
Yep.
So yeah, it was. I thought the chase sequence went really well tonight.
Yeah, what I love about the cards, because you didn't say anything about cards in this game,
Yeah.
and then Nick's like, "All right, well now we have chase cards," and I'm just like, "Why not?" And what I like about them is with Deadlands, not the one that's set up on the D20 system, but the original Deadlands used everything: poker chips, cards. So it was kind of fun to have more than just, like Mark said, more than just roll to hit, roll. You run this far, roll the hit, roll the dodge. It was like, okay, here's cards now. And never having played before, that was kind of fun seeing that. Watching it play out.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, what do you think?
I like it a lot. Well, first of all, the style of adventure is quite different than, I mean, even other investigative games like Call of Cthulhu and stuff like that.
Mhm.
This one has a completely different flavor to it.
Mhm.
I mean, we're really kind of racking our brains trying to figure out what to do and who to question.
Mm-hmm.
Or even what to ask. Like Paul had a
Right.
situation where he was questioning guys and he just draws a blank.
I just hit a wall.
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
Or how far can we go as police?
Right,
We are
right.
police,
Huh?
but can I be Dirty Harry police? Or
Right. I also think the system is cool. Using the different types of dice depending on how good you are at
Mhm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's neat. What else?
What about your character is a I guess I could say a replicant,
Yeah.
Or is he?
or is he? We don't know.
Well, that's
Yes.
a quick sidebar of that. There's one of my favorite things about this game, and I did this for Paul's character. When you're doing character creation, if you're creating a human, you can have the game master make a secret roll to determine if you're actually a replicant and don't know it, and they don't tell you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's they already inject that, Philip K. Dick stuff where you're like,
Yeah.
you're like, who's real, who is not, what's a machine, what's a man, like where did the technology merge with the humanity? That they can automatically inject it in there. It's great.
Yeah. And this is a canned adventure, right?
Yes.
Okay, that came with the set.
Mhm.
And there's more, or there's going to be more.
And they've already released the second one.
Okay.
And they also have a supplement where instead of playing Blade Runners, you play members of the Replicant Underground.
Oh wow,
That'd be fun.
That would be
I'll get
great.
that eventually.
Yeah, that'd be. Oh, so you can do stuff like that. It's not just you're not just playing Blade Runners all the time, which is detective games are fun and everything, but it's kind of fun to kind of mix it up a little bit.
So Mike's playing an analyst, a replicant analyst.
Yeah.
So it's like doing crime scene work, investigation. You're the city speaker.
City speaker.
So Mark's character is kind of like the guy who's got all the connections. He knows everybody on the streets, and then Paul is the skimmer.
Mhm.
Right? So he's a guy who's a bit shady.
Go figure,
the
right?
guy, he's the best way that character is described in the book is like you owe half the town, but the other half owes you. Like Paul, he's got his hands dirty a few times, but he'll still get the job done, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's not super road cop or anything.
Right,
You're not
right.
Cobra,
Maybe next game I'll be Cobra next
Yeah.
game.
But there are other characters too. They're doxies who are basically like they're almost like what's the word? Like profilers. And they're different character enforcers, like guys who just they're like SWAT team members practically, or guys who come in and do the heavy lifting, so to speak. And there are a couple others.
Well, I think with what you've been provided with Kickstarter, there's enough material here, artwork, maps. It would be easy to make your own game from this, even if you didn't have the mug shots of the. I mean, you could make your own mugshot cards, I'm sure. But the fact that you have a huge map of LA, you have maps of buildings, interiors, I could easily see being able to write your own games for this easily, which I think would be good. So you're not reliant on buying every module they put out, but it does. I mean, it's the one we're playing is great that they put out.
Well, I know one of the problems that role-playing games in general have, and it's not really the problem of the game more than the gamer, but a lot of gamers will just don't want to make their own game. Hopefully, in this case, that they keep going and will come out with more. So I'm hoping it's successful because it's a lot of fun to play. So even after 2 or 3 more games, canned adventures, you'll have even more stuff because if this is any indication, I can't show it all. There's too much stuff. And of course, the internet's a good place to find literally anything you want.
Another cool mechanic that I like a couple, are the one like the game encourages parties to split up.
Oh yeah.
That's totally different than games.
Because
never split up the party.
Right.
This game wants you to split up the party
because all the characters have communication devices where they can not only call each other like a Dick Tracy watch, but they can upload information that each investigator is getting in real time to each other. So they could be halfway across this massive city, still like, oh, I just found this dude, or I just learned this. And then say Mike gets a hold of Paul and says, oh, I just learned this, and Paul's questioning somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, well, I just learned this.
Like I was in the middle of questioning this fella, and Mark was in the process of trying not to die, and the call came through. So I'm like, keep your nose clean. I'll be back. So it's a lot of fun. I also what I like is the way it's broke up into shifts.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Because in most games like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, when you're dealing with things like dungeon crawls and things like that, it's kind of a unless you're counting every round and then every turn, it's kind of hard to keep track of time, and you kind of eyeball it, and go, all right, well, 3 hours have passed, But in this game, it's broke down into shifts. Why don't you explain shifts a little bit?
So the easiest way, is that they describe it is, say, like when you move from one location to another, that's considered like you've spent a shift, which is 6 hours. Shift is 6 hours, and there are 4 shifts per day. And they since since LA is so big in the story in this timeline, it's so massive.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just, unless you're in the same sector of this one sector of a city city, you can't just hop down the street to go. I'm going to go down to this place now. Sometimes you have to get in a flying car or take a train or a bus or whatever, and you're hauling like clear across massive areas. So it takes a different. They say like, okay, when you move to a new location, another shift has passed
Mm-hmm.
because you've spent time at one scene. Now you're going to another scene, and then after 3 shifts, characters have to have downtime. And that's when you start interacting with another cool thing. This game is every character has a key memory,
Yeah.
which like Mike's character is manufactured, but it's still very relevant to him.
Yeah.
And you can interact with your key memory, or you have things that you can do to decrease stress, because you can take stress damage and physical damage in this game,
Mm-hmm.
and you can heal. And well, the first session, your character didn't had like an interaction with a key memory.
Yeah. That's
And
what it was, key memory.
Where he thought he saw someone from his key memory and chased them down this like food alley, more or less.
And took his noodles because it wasn't him.
Precisely. And meanwhile, these two are getting hit on by replicant prostitutes.
I was going to say, all we were trying to do was eat some noodles.
Yeah.
We just kept getting hit on.
But what you guys did, if I remember right, you guys did learn from them about someone else in the case.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So the key memory thing, one of the things I want to bring up, I'm glad you brought that up. One of the things I wanted to bring up about the key memory thing is it actually does play into the game. If you're, say, I know 5e people, they enjoy backstory and they want their backstory to be incorporated into the game, and that puts a lot of pressure on the DM to come up with how to squeeze in so much backstory when you've got this tome of a canned adventure about yay big, and it's kind of hard to shoehorn all that in. Whereas in this, it's really simple. You roll backstories, and then the GM just works with you. Like you said during the shift, I thought I saw somebody from my past, chase him down. It wasn't him, and that to me was one of the most fun aspects of the whole session. Was it was so like Blade Runner.
Yes.
It just that is it real? Is it not? And I think that's great.
And looking at the dice, so the way the skills in combat essentially, or other dice rolls work, is you have a base die for depending on that's like your strength, your intelligence, your empathy, some other stuff.
Mhm.
Then you have the skill die, which can be different numbers, and it's either a d6, d8, d10, d12. And pretty much you roll the both depending on what's happening.
Mhm.
You roll at least one, if not both. And for every 6 you get or higher, that's considered a success. But if you're rolling a 10-sider or a 12-sider, if you're getting like really high numbers, then you get bonuses for your actions, like cooler stuff happens. But if you get like a 1, or depending on the die roll, if you get an origami unicorn,
Yes, I was going to point that out for the kids
the
at
6
home.
eyes. If you get an origami, that's a failure.
Yeah.
And depending on how many you get, that's automatic failure, or bad things can happen, fall or whatever. Someone pulls a gun on you, whatever. But like you said, it's really simple. It's like, you just, as long as you're like, I just roll these two, and sometimes there are opposed rolls, but yeah, it's really simple. You don't use D4s or D20s in this.
Yeah, I was a little hesitant to try this game out because it was a new system. And because, at our age, it's difficult to learn new systems, at least for me, speaking for myself. But this is super easy to pick up. Like, by the end of game one, you figure out the basic mechanic of it. The rest is just role playing.
And this is heavy role playing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If you are a dungeon crawl type of player, this may not be the game for you, because this requires a lot of role playing, a lot of thought, a lot of choices. It's very open, I think, to you're driving the story in some ways more than the GM is. Yeah. And so I think which is, I think, why we love it. We love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could gear it to be combat heavy.
Sure,
if you're with your own games, and who knows with the one that you're talking about where you play the resistance character, resistance fighter,
Sure.
that might be a whole different genre of gameplay.
Mhm.
It might be more combat heavy, but just being able to play, detectives is a lot of fun. Investigations a lot of fun. So if you really like investigation type stuff, this is definitely something to check out. It's easy to learn. There's a lot of role playing, especially if you're role playing against a published writer slash crime fighter. So,
On the other hand, with combat, you maybe it would be helpful to have a guy who's very built because I just got thrown across the store by a replicant.
yeah,
So the brainy guy got
yeah,
my butt handed to me by a
Yeah.
replicant easily, and so
But like Paul said, like that's so like the movies.
that is
Yeah.
so the
Just
movie.
like
Yeah, yeah.
just boom, just barrel through people, or
Yeah.
pick someone up, and
Well,
Give us,
speaking of the movie, here's the thing. Now, at first, I wasn't really a big Blade Runner fan. I thought visually it was fun. The music was great, but the thing about it is, I had seen this movie after. Okay, we just watched Harrison Ford. This gets to your character a little bit.
Mhm.
We watched Harrison Ford be Han Solo, the one that the guy every boy wants to be. We watched him be Indiana Jones. Then we watched him be this like sad ass detective who gets his ass kicked all the time. So for me as a little kid, that was a bit that took me out a little bit. But I've since changed my opinion of the movie drastically.
gets his ass kicked in the rain all the time.
All the time.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
But then you balance that with Rucker Hauer. So
true.
Oh yeah.
Another cool mechanic in this is you don't have to keep track of ammo
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
unless you're gonna because the guns you carry you can use them almost like a small rifle, but you have to load like one specific round, and then you have to basically the players have to declare I'm going to fire this like long distance like
Right.
it's like a cold sniper
Mhm.
shot kind
Right.
of thing. But
And Alien uses the same. The Alien game uses the same
Yeah.
mechanic. Like unless you like you have like a freak out roll or something that you might empty your magazine on, but other than that, nobody wants to keep track of ammo or arrows.
Is that going to be a picture of Bill Paxton on the die?
yeah.
Any any parting shots or last impressions of the game that you might want to bring up before we
Well,
wrap
just
this up?
from me running it, it's been so fun just to watch you guys put the pieces together.
Oh yeah,
Like, oh
Bet.
man, did this happen? Was it actually like this? And like, oh, I bet you this happened.
Yeah.
And like that's been a hoot
Yeah.
Mhm.
to watch this like start to fall into place, and you're starting to put the pieces together. And like at one point, Paul said something like, "There are like 3 plot lines going on here." So I'm like, what is happening?
I get lost easy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's so fun.
I mean, for me, it's the ease of play. The fact that, as you said, I'm worried when I play new systems how long it's going to take me to get the
Mhm.
gist of it. And what, a couple hours we had it, and
Yeah.
that's and you're immediately immersed with all of the supplements they give you into the world. And
Yes.
so it made it easy to want to play.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
You're not bogged down with the rules. There's really like 2 things you got to do.
Mhm.
And then of course till the cards get thrown in, but there's like 2 things you have to do, so you're not so focused on a front and back sheet character with all these little minutia, and you can focus on the game itself.
Correct.
And I think that's a great idea. I think it's more it's more, I don't want to say story driven, but a mystery is a story, and the mechanics like almost come second, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, although I do like the mechanics, but they're simple.
Hmm.
I mean, I like role playing games that have skills.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, it's super simple. You only have 3 skills per stat.
Hmm.
So it makes it easy. And yeah, the key memory thing, like you guys mentioned, is interesting because it gives your character another kind of motivation.
Hmm.
You're not always, because real people obviously have other things
Yeah.
going on in their minds. That they're not just. I know I, for example, don't. I'm not just driven completely by my job.
Yeah, yeah,
So I mean, there's other things going on.
cool.
But yeah, it's about it.
I think we'd give it our highest recommendation.
Definitely, it is my new favorite system. Again, it's Free League Games. You can go online, find it, I'm sure.
There's also like practically every role playing game, I'm sure. There's a Facebook group
Hmm.
for this, and people on there, good grief, with far more times on their hands than I. Like they created like even more props,
Oh,
stuff
wow.
that you can get, and
Oh,
like, or, like
that's
Very
great.
cool.
like, there's
Very
people like,
cool.
oh hey, like go to the site and like you can download these mugshot cards or whatever. Like
Mm.
it's wild.
Very cool.
Like people have just dove right in
Okay.
using 3D printers no less to make stuff.
Sure.
But
One guy actually made a 3D printed. He did like the basically like the hand unit guys all have to communicate with each other. He made one. Yeah, it's like holy cow,
Neat.
you know.
hard to compete with that.
Yeah,
All right, so Blade Runner, the role playing game by Free League Games. We pretty much all give it a thumbs up. Why don't you guys let the people know where they can find you?
picklepress.net, seventhlevelmusic.com, and weird-o-rama.com for me.
Typically on the We've Got Issues video YouTube podcast.
Right. Mike?
I have some stuff on Drive Through RPG. The company is Seder Play Productions.
Mm-hmm.
A couple role playing games and supplements. Also, I have a website, SederPlayProductions.com.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, that's been our little review. Again, thanks for watching. Hey, folks. If you like the channel and you haven't yet, why not do all the YouTube things like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that little bell icon. And while you're at it, why not head over to the Doomed Wizard Society and be the first wizard on your block to have an official society membership certificate, as well as my one-page RPG Operation Snake Eyes. I'll be adding more exclusive content each month, like one-page dungeons, as well as my Kids on Bike style RPG Strangeville. And if you're looking for some gothic fun, check out the 5e compatible adventure I illustrated, Council of Bones. If 5e is not your thing, it can easily be converted to almost any OSR style system. Links are in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching.